All right, Pashas Vayechi Tafshin Pedalet. I'm going to talk about the bracha of Yehuda. Hashem, another year we'll talk about the bracha of Yosef. What's striking is, out of all the children, truly only two received the real bracha. The others, I can understand Yosef was thrown away. I mean, he was sold. They tried to kill him. He was in the boyer. He stayed 22 years in Mitzrayim with the missteps we spoke about already the previous weeks. He was the only one with Binyamin to be able to reside in Mitzrayim. All the others were unable. They had to go to Eretz Goshen. As we spoke last week, I think it was during Shabbos Shir, Eretz Goshen was the land that Paro gave to Sarah as a present after taking her to his house, put it that way. And Sarah had cleared already the Ervas Aretz, the Klippa of Mitzrayim, that shouldn't reside on her land. And this is where the Bnei Israel were all along. They were in Mitzrayim, only in Eretz Goshen. They could not withstand, they didn't have the power of the Bnei Rachel to withstand the Klippa of Mitzrayim. Yosef HaTzadik saved all his family, saved the future of the Bnei Israel. He gets a bracha. On the other hand, I have a little problem. Yehuda sold his brother. Yehuda was the Av Beis Din of all the brothers. He sold his brother. Yehuda is nichshal with his daughter-in-law, Tamar. He did tshuva. Yes, he did tshuva. He did tshuva. But Yehuda preceded him. Reuven was the first one. It says, Besako Iftanisoi. He was all along, because of what he moved the bed of Bilhah. He moved the bed of Yaakov from the tent of Bilhah to the tent of his mother. He did tshuva. So what's the greatness of Yehuda? Why would he deserve to become Melech Yisrael forever? Why did he deserve to be the father of David HaMelech, the father of the Mashiach? There is a cloud. When someone was nichshal with the bris, and he went having forbidden relations with the forbidden woman, he can never become, the tshuva can be accepted, he can correct, the chet that he did. However, one thing he cannot reach. He will never be a moishel, a ruler. He can never become a ruler. If he cannot become a ruler, how come Yehuda became it? How come Yaakov Avinu blesses him? At that point, there was nothing hidden from Yaakov Avinu. He got back his Ruach HaKodesh. He saw clearly what happened. But Yosef, out of respect for his brothers, would never go eat with his father for the last 17 years of his life. 17 plus 40 plus 32 plus 22, 39. 39 like the Malchus, like the Tal. Look what Yosef HaTzadik endured during his life. Why? Because he didn't want his father to ask him to verify, counter-verify, the Maaseh, how it happened, or to talk about it, or to try to share. Only for the sake of his brothers. This is Yosef HaTzadik. On the other hand, Pasuk gives a tremendous bracha to Yehuda. However, we don't have the first clue why. Let's go in the psukim. Okay. This is the whole bracha of Yehuda, but every word is priceless, heavy loaded, and obviously not meaning what seems to be the Pashut Pshat. You're gonna see, I'm gonna destroy the Pashut Pshat. The story is definitely not what comes out simply by translating this psukim. There's a whole story behind all this. Yehuda, okay. Ata, you, come on. Either start with Ata or start with Yehuda. You can't start with two pronouns. Yehuda Ata. This is a kefel lashon. We learn from every word and every letter of the Torah, tile tilim of halachas, piles of halachas. So why would you repeat that word? Obviously, there's a reason, but we need to find out what's the reason. Yoiducha achecha, your brothers will admit to you. Admit what? Admit the greatness I'm going to give you. Admit that you made tshuva. Admit what? Now, he's going to jump completely to seemingly another subject. Yadecha be'oref oivecha. Your hand is placed in the nape of your enemies. And again, another subject. Ishtachavu lecha b'nei avicha. Achecha b'nei avicha. They will bow down to you. What are you talking about, Yaakov? What are you saying? Are you describing, if you want to describe Yehuda as a great, as the king of the Bnei Israel, say it. But saying that, you know, you're going to get the approval of your brothers, of your brother, then you should have said, fine, ato yeducha achecha veishtachavu lecha. And then, if you want to say something else, this yadecha be'oref oivecha, you'll see that it's more befitting to put it in the next pasuk than in the previous one. Gur arye Yehuda. Lion is Yehuda. Two different type of lions. We'll see what kind of lions it is. Okay, Yehuda is a lion. Why two lions here? Okay, we'll see. Miteref beni alisa. From teref is when you not praying. After you prayed, you capture a prey. My son, you rise. So are you reading those two words together, or those two words are separate? Meaning miteref, from not hunting, it's from praying. Not praying, davening, praying, whatever. Someone wants to say the word right, can open his microphone. So, or should I read miteref beni? When he told me taraf Yosef, that beni is Yosef. Alisa, you rise back up. So where do I put the comma here? Here, after teref, or after beni? You see, the pasuk is not precise. We'll see what he means. Korar, he crouched. Rovaz, he launched. Ke'arye, like a lion. Uchlavi, we have a third description of lion. It's a young lion. Mi yekimenu, who will taunt him? Who's going to get close? Is there a normal person that get close to a lion and try to? The lion is resting. The lion gets up. You know what's going to happen. So who would get close to a line? Then we're going to see, let's focus on this. But I just want to point one more thing. Lo yasor shevet mi Yehuda, he promised him that the Malchus will never move away from the ruling from Shevet Yehuda, umechoikek, and the scepter mi ben ragla, from between his legs. Oh, you hold the scepter, by the Malchei Yisrael, we hold the scepter in the leg, not in the hand. Ad ki yavoi Shiloi, until Shiloi. Look at these words. Every time it's written with a vav, it's going to be, it's written with a hey, we're going to read it with a vav. Like, you can't hear it, but you can see it. Shiloi, Shin Yud Lamed Hey, we read it Shiloi. You see Iroi, Iroi. Susoi, Susoi. You never see that again in the Torah. Never. I told him, you're going to attach the fall of a donkey to a vine, and and the mule to the. You can see Yaakov Avinu is speaking to another level, and we have to try to understand what's going on here. And Bez Hashem on Shabbos, I think you will have a complete understanding and a complete vision of this psukim, and smile when someone's going to try to translate, try to get the pshat out of the words without digging out. Let's start now this year. It's not my usual way, but here the Rosh is combining both worlds. He's combining the Nigle and the Nistar. And he's saying like this, that in Yehuda, in the name Yehuda, you have the Yud Ke Vav Ke plus the letter Dalet. We saw last week already that was part of the fight between Yosef and Yehuda. Yehuda told him the Dalet means the 4 Galuyas, I will be responsible for the Jews. And Yosef says, no, it's me. And we explained last week that Yosef will be the manhig, which is another word for ruler. Yehuda is the moshel, the ruler. We have to come up with clear definitions, understanding. But here this week, the Rosh is going totally different way. And he's saying, yes, we have the Yud Ke Vav Ke, and the Dalet represent two things, that he is the 4th child, and also because he's going to be Zoiche to Malchus Yisrael, to the Mashiach, which is the light on which the Pasuk says he is going to shine. He's like the Shemesh, like the sun. Therefore, the number 4 represents the day 4 when the sun was created. That's the way the Rosh explains, as a Rishon, as a Kodesh Kodashim. There's a depth in his words, but we need to understand and ask very simply in order to create a staircase to be able to go down, because we're going to go quite down today. This question I will not answer today, but Lineda, I will answer it on Shabbos. Yehuda. Okay, we have Yud Ke Vav Ke and Dalet. Why is the Dalet Dafka after the Yud Hey Vav? And then you have the 4th letter of the name of Hashem. We have Yud Ke Vav. Yehuda is the 4th. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, then Yehuda. Is that any relationship there? Why is the last he separated from the first three letters of the name of Hashem by this dalet? What is this coming to tell me? It's not coming to tell me that he's the fourth son. Like, honestly, why? So Shimon needs a base in his name in order to tell me he's the second son? Reuben has an aleph. Levi needs a gimel to tell me he's the third son. What's the correlation to that? What's the correlation to the fact that the Mashiach will be, his seed will be shining like the sun? Why? Because on the fourth day, you didn't have the Levana also? I mean, I like the fact that you want to focus on what stimms here, what fits. That on the fourth day, the sun was created. But I'm sorry, on the fourth day, the Levana also, the moon was created. So how does he answer this dalet according to the Rosh? The Rosh keeps on and says, the fact that Yehuda saved 4 lives, B'mida keneged mida, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved 4 of his children from death, and he was zoiche to melucha. He was zoiche to kingship, kingdom, kingship, whatever. Scratching my head. Now I have even more problem with the Rosh here. Who are the 4 children that were saved by Yehuda? They were Daniel, when he was thrown in the pit, in the lion's pit, in the lion's den, whatever. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which were saved from the fire. These are the 4 tzaddikim. Which are the 4 people that Yehuda saved? He saved Yosef because the brothers wanted to kill him. He says, "Ma betza kinara gesachinu." Why should we kill him? So he saved Yosef. He saved when Tamar came and said, "Please recognize the chosemes you stamped," means the ring, the psilim, the tzitzis, the hamate and his stick. But she didn't reveal. She didn't reveal who he was. And he could have kept quiet, but he did not. He didn't back up from taking responsibility and go through the shame before his brothers. And I'll explain a little bit more later with the how the Zohar recounts what happened. You know, when Tamar came out and they found out she was pregnant, there was a few steps there, and you're going to see the tremendous design Yehuda took. Tremendous. And still, he preferred to do, so he saved, it's considered that he saved 4 lives. Great. How many lives Yosef HaTzadik saved? Beis Aviv. That's what it says in the pasuk. The house of his father. All the Bnei Israel. Everything we are today and we have today is because of Yosef HaTzadik. Not because of Yehuda. Yehuda saved, you know, if you want to call this a saving on Yosef to send him to Mitzrayim, I'm fine with that. However, you cannot consider that he has the schus of saving Yosef and it's because of him. Nah. This part is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, has nothing to do with the brothers. They wanted to kill him and nothing else. The machshava was that he should disappear from this world. Why? Because he's going to have King Yerovam, who's going to breach with Malchus Beis David. He's going to create now this new lineage of kings of Israel, and he's going to be extremely bad. One day we should give a shir on Yerovam, understand the Rishaim from then, how much they knew. What was happening when Yerovam was learning with Achia Shiloini? Achia Shiloini was a tremendous Malach Hashem. He was the Navi at that time. What was happening in Shamayim when they were learning Torah together? What happened when someone in his drasha talked about Yerovam and what Yerovam came to tell him in his dream? I mean, there's a whole, behind the scene, there's a whole story to everything. And bit by bit, we need to unveil. So here, again, it's the same question that comes back, but in bigger and bigger. Yosef HaTzadik should have been the Melech Yisrael, not Yehuda. He was the only one able to go down all the way to the chambers of the Tumah, the worst Tumah, where Sarah Imenu was able to go and then rise from there as a star without sinning. Yehuda came down a little bit. Vayered Yehuda. Yehuda came down. Not like Yosef, 1,000,000 steps all the way to the abysmal pit of Mitzrayim. No. Vayered. One. What happened? Boom. He fell. You tell me, who's more befitting to become the king and the role model of Bnei Israel, Yosef or Yehuda? And the two received a tremendous bracha. But as for the psukim say, you know, all what they bring on Yehuda really befits Yosef a lot more. That's what I'm saying. You're going to see here how the Torah is going to take us, is going to wrong foot us and show us what is the midah. It's great to be a tzaddik. It's great to be davening with kavanas. It's great to be doing krishma and having intention. It's great doing everything. But there's one thing that supersedes all that. Supersedes by far, which is we're going to find by Yehuda and not by Yosef. It seems to be something not so trivial, but you're going to see the life of a person in this world and in the next world. If he has this in his hand, he's in good hands. While not having it and having the rest, guys, don't take my words to feel that now you potter from this and that, you're going to work on that midah, because that midah comes through a lot of work. It doesn't happen just like this overnight. It's not a mushroom. Anyway, let's go through the steps here, because otherwise I will lose you. The Zohar is asking a question. Yehuda, good with Tamar. Apparently, on the outside, it's Vera. Why? Because Yehuda thought she was a Zoina. I'm not going to use any English word because I don't know which one is appropriate. So she was a Zoina. That's what he says. Yehuda, he thought she was a Zoina. So, you know, how wrong is to explain psukim without a little bit of depth. You know, it's really laughable once you're going to know the real pshat of everything. Then, from a union like this, come out two tremendous tzaddikim. Peretz and Zerach, twins. To the point that such tzaddikim that they considered that Peretz is considered. So all the kings came out of Peretz. All the Sanhedrin came out of Zerach. Come on, this is a statement. You're not having just anybody, or someone's going to have one great king King David HaMelech. No, all the king can only come from Peretz. All the Sanhedrin comes from Zerach. That's why when David went to fight Goliath and he beat him, he killed him. Shaul gave him his sword. I think I'm going to touch this a bit deeper on Shabbos. It's a very interesting subject. I'm going to bring it in. So Shaul gave him his sword, but David HaMelech took the sword and then refused the sword. He went with his little frond, it's called, I think. And Goliath complained, what, am I a dog that you come to me with that spear or sword, and you're coming with a, like, something to throw stones at a dog? David HaMelech answered him, I'm not coming at you with a weapon. I'm coming at you with the name of God that you desecrated. And then he let go of the stone, and the stone hit right under the helmet and went into his forehead. Why didn't David HaMelech use the sword? Because the sword only befits the children of Rachel, because they are the Satan of Esau, and Esau was blessed by the sword. So the only one that can use the sword in the Bnei Israel are the children of Rachel, no one else. Forgot who says that. It's I think it's Yonus and Ari Bishitz. That's all. So David HaMelech felt, he's not allowed to use the sword because he's from Yehuda. Fine. But he's having this David HaMelech that talks like this, who is the Torah start counting from, look in Megillah Rus, from Peretz, not from Yehuda, from Peretz. Just to tell you how big of a tzaddik it is. I'm not sure I understand. When the parents are Reshaim, usually they're getting the neshama of a Rasha. Two luminaries like this, it's not an accident. How is it possible for a forbidden relation come out? A forbidden relation, what does it create? An Isur. The Isur is an envelope, is a klipa. Inside the klipa comes, so automatically is the sitra achra, the bad side that puts their neshama inside there. Should be very bad. How do tzaddikim like this, came to be? The Zohar goes on explaining that there was two tzaddikes that gave life to Am Yisrael. First one was Tamar. The second one was Rus. But again, Tamar, even though, and I'm not going to go, I think I'm going to cut you off for all this Indian of Yibum, because otherwise I see the time is passing, and I really would like to focus a lot more on the other thing. But let me give you a little bit of understanding what is the Yibum. When two brothers, and one dies, the second one has a mitzvah to marry the wife of his brother. That's what's called Yibum. Otherwise, he has to do chalitza on the shush. He has to spit in. There's a whole procedure. And it's a very interesting, weird procedure. But we have time, chalitza, you understand exactly what happens. This is how this world works. What I'm going to tell you is basics, the fabric of this world. The man, which is more active, which has more mitzvahs, which has to do a lot more, creates light. He generates light. However, he has no tools, nothing in order to hold this light. So this light was just anywhere. When he's not married, because when he's married, the wife is the Kelly. She is the one that's going to contain all the light that the husband has generated, because a man is incapable of holding the light. Only woman can hold the light. That's all. It's the principle of the marriage in this world. When a man goes with a woman, the man is made out of cubes. First, you have the appearance, which is the goof. Inside it, you have a smaller cube, which is the nefesh, the first level of the soul. But this first level, it looks exactly like the body. And that's how people are going to recognize each other in the world to come. Even though it's not 100% true, but because people, the neshama on the other world will change appearance. But you're still going to be able to correlate who it is. Go understand this. Then you have the ruach inside the nefesh. Then you have the neshama inside all of them. So you see, it's all a game of kli, vessel, to be able to contain. And when a person breaks the kli, he loses everything. When a person does a chet, boop, the kli pops out, the neshama goes back up, and depending on the type of chet, the ruach also leaves him. He lives like an animal, like a nefesh, with a nefesh. That's all. Now, when the man goes with a woman, part of his nefesh goes into her. She has, that's why sometimes it's brought down the story in the Pele Yoetz that men are trying to pull their wives to the next world. It says, because too much of the nefesh, he loved his wife and everything, too much of the nefesh remained down in this world. And they're trying, because they don't have menucha in the other world without having the completion of the nefesh. So they're trying to pull them, or someone who's trying to remarry them, he kills them. Obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't bring the wider people to remarry them, but many stories where Peleiotes brings that they died. They came to the Mekubalim, there's nothing we can do. The nefesh from the other side has a right to this woman. So what happened is the nefesh that was by the wife was not released. Yibum, when the brother marries his deceased brother's wife, the part of the nefesh that was in his wife goes out into the baby. It means it's the husband. It was her husband that goes into the baby, and the other one comes in too. So it's really the full husband. You're giving him again a life. However, it's not in the same disposition as in the previous life, because in the previous life, what is his mother now used to be his wife. And now he is, one level lower. He is the son. So when Tamar knew that and Oinan, so was the first husband, the first son of Yehuda, died. Oinan, why? Because she was beautiful, Tamar, and he didn't want her to get pregnant and to affect the beauty. Oinan did the same thing. and he died too. Now she has these two nefashos inside her. Being the firstborn of Yehuda, had the sparkle, the neshama of David HaMelech and the Mashiach inside him. How can you let this go to waste? It's impossible that it does not remain with Yehuda. It's impossible. Why? Because then the lineage of Yehuda will stop right there. Onan died. He has Shelah, the third son, but the third son doesn't have the neshama, the nitzoitz, the sparkle of neither David HaMelech or the Mashiach. So what's the point? So she knew she had to do something dramatic. Okay. That's great to describe it that way. She had a good intention for Am Yisrael. Let me ask you something. Is it mutar to do an aveira, tremendous aveira? I don't know. On Shabbos, for instance, you see someone that needs help, you take your car, to do Kiddush Hashem. He said, there's tremendous Kiddush Hashem, I'm going to rush. I'm going to take my car and I'm going to go there. Are you allowed to do that? Obviously not. Obviously not. Who said you're allowed to be over an Isur in order in the future something good should come out? And besides, Yehuda didn't have the right intention. He never thought about Yibum. And we all know in this year by now that whenever you do a mitzvah without intention, in the Tefillah on Sanet Toikef every Yom Kippur, it says that even Malachim are scared. Why? Because they're going to Din. Should ask yourself a question. Malachim Din? Why Malachim sin? They don't have a Yetzer Hara. They only have a Yetzer HaTov. All they do is exactly what Hashem prescribes. So why would the Malachim go to Din? The answer is because the Malachim created by the action of the people down below are not what it seems. Sometimes they have a white cloth. Guy gave tzedakah. Tremendous amount of tzedakah for marrying Yesoimus. For tremendous tzedakah for people, for one of these refuah organizations. Great. He deserved to create a malach, a white malach. Baruch Hu calls him on Rosh Hashanah, tells him, get away from the right. You look white, you're not white, you dark. Why? Because the machshava of that person, at the moment he gave the money, was he basically almost, I want to say, materialized the whole mitzvah. The mitzvah is something spiritual. He took all the spirituality out of this and made it about himself. He made himself the center instead of letting Hashem and accomplishing, bowing down our head. Thank you for giving me the means to be able to help other Yidden. No, he wanted to get covered for himself. Take it, rubbing away the covered from us, stealing away the covered from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and taking it to himself. This is a tremendous threat. So that malach will flow and will be created exactly the same way as the person who created him, with an outside and an inside. And on Rosh Hashanah, and sometimes people do mistakes, but well-intentioned. So these malachim look black, but on Rosh Hashanah, they brought out of the black side and they brought up to the light side. And now they become good malachim. Why? Because it was a genuine mistake, but the intention was pure. Okay, I'm getting closer here. Tamar is making a mistake like this. Melech Be'Yisrael, you go and be makshil, you go sleep with your Yes, the Rambam says, the Shulchan Aruch says, Ibn Noach, all the Rishonim bring down, they were mutar to do yibum with your father-in-law. I accept that. That's a good premise. But did Yehuda ever had the intention to do yibum? Never. It says, Vayachshaveh halezoino. The pasuk is blatant about the intention. So even though the yibum was performed, how does he help? You want to give me this person as a king on Israel forever? What's so great about him? You know how many people are nichshal, and how many people, how many tzaddikim are not nichshal? You all know the story of the levush. There's the Talmud of the Rama, Mordechai Yafe, Yagan Aleinu. Ooh, what he did in Shamayim. There's a story on him, what happened in Shamayim. Ooh. But let me tell you, there's 7 levush. Levush means a cloth. He called this sefer on halacha the 7 clothes. Why? Because the Mordechai Yafe, not only his name was say beautiful, he was tremendously beautiful. And one of the aristocrat women started with him, and he felt the Yetzer Hara, grabbing him. There was a puddle of mud with animal, I'm not gonna say what, in front of him. He jumped in there. When she saw that, she was crazy, she left. Since he raised his eyes in Shamayim, and he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the same way I was makriv myself, I sacrificed myself, at that time he received a thing in Torah unbelievable. And since he had 7 clothes on him, keneged each of his clothes, he wrote a sefer, one of the levushim. The levushim is a kodesh kodashim. There's many stories. And how do we know the story that happened in Shamayim through the Mekubalim? I'm telling you, the levush is a kodesh kodashim. When I read these words, I go with a lot of respect. Kodesh kodashim. There was one of the other Talmidim that wrote a whole pirush on the Shulchan Aruch, and that was disrespectful to the levush. When he came to Shamayim, even though I'm not going to mention his name, but it's every Shulchan Aruch, everybody who learns Chesed Mishpat knows that. When he arrived in Shamayim, he was greeted by the levush, who taught him how wrong he was, all the thing, and the chutzpah to have anyway, I'm not going into tzaddikim and their thing. I'm not up there. So here we see that, yes, the act per se, we take away the word znus. It was not a forbidden act. However, it was a badly intentioned act. How can you make up for this? If the machshava is rotten, the machshava is the biggest, most powerful thing. We think the maaseh, no. If there's no machshava in the maaseh, when you do an action, if you don't have the intention and you pay attention, you always make mistakes. To show you that, yes, the doer part, the eved part is the hands, but the melech is the mind. And where did Yehuda fail? In the mind. How can Tamar make him fail like this? How can a person, the Zohar say that Tamar and Ruth were zoiche to such a godless, it's because of the tznius they have. How can a person who's so reserved, a woman so reserved, a woman that has been acting always as a righteous, or turns into a prost, for good intentions. For good intention. The Targum Yonasan Talmud, the biggest Talmud of Hillel HaZaken, when he records the story, what he says is, we condense. And Baruch Hashem that we have his words in order to understand. When Tamar was taken to be thrown into a furnace, because the Zohar says she was a Bas Kohen. She was the daughter of a Kohen. And the daughter of a Kohen that's caught in Znus, the din is into the fire. To correct the problem, so not to have a blemish on the other side, it has to be corrected here in a harsh way, but it's through the fire. So while she was taken, she told them, wait a second, I want to take something with me. And she was looking for the guarantors that Yehuda gave her, which is his ring, his tzitzis, and his stick. And she couldn't find them. She raised her eyes to Hashem. She said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please help me find them, and I will give you 3 kedoshim. That will make a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which come from Yehuda and Tamar. They will do a tremendous Kiddush. At that point, says the Targum Yonasan, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu noted to Michael, and Michal showed it to her, showed Tamar where they were. And she went with them. When she arrived before the Beis Din, in order to be heard, because we don't kill a Bnei Yisrael unless the person go through a din, and unless we open through schus, try to find excuses to the person why he did that. Any Beis Din that's done dinyan nefashos, that judges life matters, and start with the prosecution, this Beis Din is possible, right away the person is free. When we are judging a life matter, right away all the Dayanim, all they busy themselves with is finding a reason why he is not Chayav Misa. And they have to go through every angle, no matter how many days it takes, until they find none. Then he's Chayav Misa. That's why, by the Bnei Yisrael, despite the fact that we had the 4th death, any Beis Din that would kill one person in 70 years, it was named a murderer Beis Din. Meaning that you're not good enough to find a reason. And you are murderers. That's what it is. So now, in that case, why do they have to come before the Beis Din? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, once the din is taken into the Beis Din down below, it's not up there. And if the Beis Din down below paskin that there is no sin committed and there's no life to be taken, Shamayim does the same. That's it. That's the only reason. So Tamar comes to the Beis Din, and she throws before the Beis Din. She says, I'm pregnant to the owner of these items. Who's sitting at the head of the Beis Din? Yehuda. Yehuda is the Av Beis Din. Benu Bachye calls him Hadayen Hagodol. I forgot the gematria, that it comes out to Av Beis Din. I don't have it in my head. Since now I don't focus too much to give you in that share too many gematrias, even though I will give you some. You know that. I don't know if it comes out exactly of Bezin. He was the of Bezin. Now figure out you have 21 Dayanim, and Yehuda is the head, and here he sees his ring, his tzitzis, and his and she says, the person who owns this should have Rahmanus and not kill for 3 people which are innocents. Says the Targum Yonasan at that time, at that moment, in Yehuda's head goes, if I take the blame, it's worse than fire. But I'd rather have a fire that's extinguishable in this world, meaning it passes, its duration is not forever, versus than be thrown into a fire that eats up fires. Nobody can extinguish that fire in Shamayim. And he said, Tzadka mimeni. She's more righteous than I am. If I had time, I would dig into this puzzle. The beginning and the end don't matter. What do you mean, Tzadka mimeni? No, she's right. Or say, these are mine. I agree, these are mine. Anyway, so Yehuda admits, and right away, since there's a mitzvah of Yibum here being performed, everybody's fine. There's no chet, there's no nothing. And seemingly, he doesn't, if you translate the pasuk, he doesn't keep on living with Tamar. But if you look in the Gemara in Soita Yudamut Beis, you'll see that he never stayed. He stayed with her. Says the Midrash, this is one of the marvels of Hashem. Yehuda, while she was his daughter-in-law, used to hate Tamar. Where is this passage? Did I bring it in the other thing? I don't remember. He used to hate her. Why? Because it's a Gemara also in Soita. Because she was an angry person. And Yehuda didn't like people with anger like this. Maybe because he was already, hot-blooded as a lion, who knows? When Yehuda, so now the pasuk will change dramatically from what we've learned so far. When Yehuda passes by Tamar and sees her, vayachsheveha lezoino, he thought that she was a zoina. So there's no business, nothing to see here. Keep on walking. Fully at the other side of the spectrum of the Pshat Pashut. And that, the Midrash. Hashem sent a Malach. Says, Yehuda, Mayim, the Gemara also in Soita, I think it's Chavbei, I can't remember. It doesn't bring the whole thing like the Midrash. The Midrash is from the Tanaim, so before the Gemara. The Tanaim Agdoshim said HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him a Malach Kodesh. He says, Yehuda, what would it be with the kings? What do you mean what it would be the kings? If you go, what would it be with the kings? There'll be no kings in Israel. Oh, so I have to, yes. Now you see, there was no bad intention. Yehuda was told to do so, knowing that her appearance was something that was forbidden to him. And unless it was told Mishamayim, like this revealed the Tanaim. You see now Yehuda on the different spectrum, a different light. Yehuda, every time he's challenged, when a person, a bizayon, is 100 dead. When he's wrong, he's admitting. He has the koyach to admit. He doesn't have the gaiva to stand his ground and prove and dig his heel in the ground, though knowing that he's wrong. Like all the Rishaim we know. Yehuda admits. Yehuda has the power to be like the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be ma'avir al midoisa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the supreme king in Shamayim. On earth, we need a king that's not obnoxious. No matter what people do, they're not so happy. Look at Moshe Rabbeinu, never held grudge to the Bnei Israel. He is the Roy. From the time he was born until the time Mashiach velo yik. I'm going to go into the psukim in a second. Velo yik hasamim. Moshe Rabbeinu, when Mashiach will come, will gather the people. Not the Mashiach, Moshe Rabbeinu. That's his mission. To take the Bnei Israel that live in Galus and to bring them to Eretz Israel. For that reason, the door of Moshe Rabbeinu did not enter Eretz Israel. So we have the schus being accompanying them into Eretz Israel. We can also enter Eretz Israel. And this is when Moshe Rabbeinu together with us will enter Eretz Israel. Look at Kadosh Baruch Hu does every prat to prat, but he needed a king on earth. That's not going to hold grudge and meet some people and get angry at people and kill them for a yes or a no, despite that he's a king and he has a right. But in contrary, someone that resembles HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yosef was incapable of being ma'avir al bidoisa. Sorry to say that way. It's wrong. He was capable. He did it. Actually, when Yosef didn't want to reveal himself yet to the brother, when he says, "Vayizvada Yosef alecha v'zgematria ma'avir al midoisa," but not to the level of Yehuda. Therefore, Yosef always wanted to precede Yehuda, but Yehuda never had a problem. Never has a problem with that. Because he's not looking for the first place. And that's why the first place is being given to him. The Gemara recounts in Sanhedrin, you know about Yerovam, this Rosh Merusha, that the king of Israel, that was so anxious that if the Bnei Israel go to the Beis HaMikdash, they would not recognize his kingship. So he put the two oxes of gold on the way to Jerusalem. And he started telling people, these are the thing we have to worship, the idols we have to worship. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was so great in Torah Yeravam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Chazar becha, make tshuva. Make tshuva. And I and Ben Yishai and you will walk together in Gan Eden. Yeravam asked him, Mi berosh, who's going to be first? Me or Ben Yishai? Me or David HaMelech? HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him David. He says, in that case, I don't want. I don't want. Why? Because we spoke about this last week. Mashiach ben Yosef is in the Yesod, above. He's the son. Mashiach ben David is the Levana, is the moon, which is under the Malchus. And it's the Yesod that provides to the Malchus. So the always has to be on top, Yosef. Let me ask you, just for understanding something deep and clearly, how is it possible then that the achievements of the Mashiach ben David are going to be greater than the achievements of Mashiach ben Yosef. If all the power, if all the lights the moon has is from the sun, the moons can never match the light of the sun. It's simple. If all the powers the Mashiach ben David has is from the Mashiach ben Yosef, the Mashiach ben David can never match the greatness of Mashiach ben Yosef. So how is it possible? I'm going to talk through on here. I'm going to go through a couple of gematrias just to explain you, because instead of going through all the psukim, you will understand and you will see now the psukim under a totally different light. Totally different light, but definitely not as, let's go back on the psukim. If I take the first letter here, okay, I'm going to start making it. Okay. I know my grade. If you take the first letter, second puzzle, we spoke about it, and I'm going to speak about it on Shabbos, and I can speak about this thing for the rest of the year. It's so deep, this inyan. This inyan is connected. You know what? You want me to shock you? This is connected to the, how do they call it in English? The rainbow. What does he have to do with the rainbow? Where's the power? This is the rainbow. Oh, sorry. That's the same possible word. Look at this. This is a name that's powers are. I'm going to speak on Shabbos to go on this, but and now if we start the pasuk, we say only Yehuda. You know, it's because it's Yehuda, comma Ata. So we start the pasuk from Ata. Is Ata Giboy Le'olam Adoi. Here is the name, and this is also happens to be that name connected to the rainbow. I don't have time to start a share on the rainbow. But B'ez Hashem, maybe on Shabbos I'll I'll gear it to that. There's so many things in Ipsuki. So now we have Yehuda. We understand that he's not exactly what we thought he was. He was completely erasing himself towards the will of Hashem in everything. Bring it. Look in here. Look at this psukim. I explained you, but now you can see it. Uvnei Yehuda erve oinon. Yaakov is going down to Mitzrayim. Erve oinon are buried in Eretz Canaan. They're dead for a long time. And the pasuk says the sons of Yehuda are erve oinon. No, they're dead. Sheila and Sheila Baferetz Bazarach. Yes, Sheila is alive. It's the third one. And Peretz and Zarach is from Tamar. Then it tells you, Vayamos erve oinon be'eretz Canaan. They died in Eretz Canaan. And you still count them at the 70s, at the 70 people that went down to Mitzrayim. But you just said they're dead. So how do you count them? Only because in Yibum, they're not dead anymore. They're back to Chetzran and Cham. Because if you realized in the 70, none of the third generation were counted, only these two, because they are Erve Oina. Second time in Bamidbar. Ne Yehuda Erve Oinon. Oh no, that's long time generation that they're dead. What are you counting? We're talking about the great. This is after Mitzrayim. We're talking after 210 years that Yehuda was dead, plus many years in the Midbar. Who knows, 220 years maybe since the passing of Yehuda. So the passing of his children, it's probably over 300 years. And you want to count them in the midbar? And Vayamos Erve Oinan, and now you go again, Vayamos Erve Oinan Beretz Kenan. Like, oh no, okay, he didn't tell me he wants that, you know. And then Vayibn, and in Divrei Hayamim, the pasuk says, Bnei Yehuda Erve Oinan. Again. Veshela Shloisha Noinlad Loi Mi Bashua Kenanis. This is in Divrei Hayamim. These are the children that he had while he was married to Bashua, the Kenanis. Samar Kalasoi, and Samar, his daughter-in-law, Yoldaloi Esperetz Vezarach. Kol Bnei Yehuda Chamisha. They're 5. No, you just said they died. They're not 5. They're not alive. Yes, they're alive. In the concept of Yibum, the person comes back. The same way the Mashiach ben David will bring back the Mashiach ben Yosef, the same way Yibum brings back the dead from the other world to this world. Here we go. Here we have a tremendous yesod. And I'm going to take it from Rus. When Oived, the son of Rus, was born, people told Naomi, V'hayalach lemeshiv nafesh, and he shall be to you, to the one returning the soul. In simple words, he shall be the one that returned the soul of his father, which is Machlon. How do people call him afterward? Yulad ben le Naomi. Naomi had a son. No, it's Rus that had a son. So why do you call him Naomi? Because in Yibum, it's truly the person that was passing that's coming back. By us, there's no frontiers. There are no frontiers between this world and the other world. Only because we sip in the philosophy of the Yevanim, of the Greeks, and we're losing our spirituality. Therefore, our eyes are darkened and we cannot see that there's no barrier between this world to the next world. V'hayalach lemeshiv nafesh 888. When Yosef, the pasuk, the Midrash too, also brings when comes the end of the punishment, it's Kates, Sam, La is written without a vowel, La Choshech. This is the end of the darkness. When a person passes and didn't have children, so he cannot go to his resting place, and they bring him back to this world to complete himself, this is the end of the Oynesh, and this is the end of the darkness. This is the end of even the poverty. Everybody was paying. Ruth, Naomi were becoming very poor. Boaz marries Ruth, has relation with Ruth that night. The next day he died. Ruth is a wealthy lady. Boaz was very wealthy. She's a wealthy lady. That was the end. One day she has a son. She has no husband. Just the hard life she went through is terrible. She was a princess, the princess of Moab. Her father was a king. So despite that, and this is show you that this is the continuation. My Vir al Midois. The lineage of the Malchus Israel is based on one midah. You want to become a Moshe? Yes, it says that someone sins cannot become a ruler. You want to become a ruler? You want to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You want to be able to extend your hand and raise the Bnei Israel because your hearts ache by how much sorrows the goyim are doing to the Yidden. You want to be there. The key, the secret, Ma'avir al midos. Yes, you feel like you want to say something. Yes, you feel you were grudge and you're entitled to a response, and you are, but you are not responding. At that point, you basically connected yourself directly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu without any intermediary. Why? Because you're connected to his midah of my days. We said, why is repetition here ata? If you say Yehuda ata, now that we have said and learned all this, you will see how Yaakov Avinu speaks to his son. Where am I? He speaks to his son with such a chaf. Ata is 406. Let's take it with the kero. We're going to call it 407 for now. I'm going to go back to 406 afterward. This equals Yehuda, Oinon. The three of them. When you say Yehuda, and now you understand all these psukim, it's really included because he took the neshamas, he brought them back to life. Besides the yibum, besides marrying Tamar, besides doing the mitzvah. Now you're going to ask me, why is it a yibum permitted then? Is it only for Bnei Noach? There was a rule before Matan Torah. Remember, we don't have the Torah of the first luchas. We only have the Torah of the second luchas. In the Torah of the second luchas, the power of a mitzvah aseh like yibum has been limited. A lois aseh supersedes the aseh, not in the first Torah, in the second. Don't want to go into now philosophy, explain you why and not this. We have no time for this. But when Yehuda, the mitzvah aseh of yibum supersedes the issur of being his daughter-in-law. And he did the mitzvah. And as we saw before, he didn't have the wrong machshava. And what did we say? So the first son, went into, he had the had the neshama of David HaMelech, and he went into Peretz, who is the lineage of David HaMelech, right? So I want to see who's this human here that started the Malchus based David. Because obviously there's deeper reasons why had to be inside Peretz, why Peretz was not able, says the Zohar HaKadosh. If Peretz was born from the union of Shelah and Tamar, Malchus based David would have been weak. Only because Peretz, which is is still the son of Yehuda. And he's still the husband, and he's still under Yehuda, just the son, not the grandson of Yehuda. Had he been the grandson of Yehuda, he had lost his power, it would have not been completed. And look at this. Peretz equals 640, which is obviously Shemesh, which is the mother. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything is meduyak. What the purpose of everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu did has a very particular reason, and if you dig out in the words, you are finding exactly what you are looking for. I want to finish on one note, because we did not understand, because now we said Yehuda Ata. So I'm blessing, because now you brought back and Oinon, which was the grandchildren of Yaakov Avinu. So Yaakov Avinu was very happy that they're going to be completed. Now your brothers will admit that the melucha comes to you because you have this midah of ma'avir al midoso. and not open your mouth. So what he means, Yadecha be'oref oivecha. I'm just going to explain that, and I'm going to close the share. I know it's been long today. Sorry. Let me copy it. There's many ways to give it to you, but I want to try to have it in a very crisp way. This equals to 429. Very weirdly, I'm going to give it to you the normal way. When it says in the pasuk, "Vayachsheveha lezoina," equals exactly 429. In other words, what we explained that he thought that he saw and he wanted to pass by is the correct shot. Why? Because Yehuda holds his enemy by the neck. And he saw that Satan wanted him to trip. And he wanted to affect all the Malchus-based David. He knew that. But he wanted to pass. And he wanted, but Hashem says, lehadlik ner. You have to light the ner of the Mashiach. Without you and Tamar, the ner of the Mashiach, you have to understand, why did Tamar deserve to be the mother of the Mashiach? We don't even know her pedigree. Because she is the only one that was covering herself. It says in the Torah with the tzayif. Tzayif equals 250, equals ner. When a woman covers herself, automatically, you know what this is on Hanukkah in the Kavanas. I'm going to give them to you now here. We have 3 Yehudim which are equals to ner. It's Yud Ke Vav Ke, the Chachma, Kehye with the Bina. We unify the upper worlds. The second one is Yud Ke Vav Ke, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. We unify HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Malchus and his Malka. But in the Malchus, there's 2 levels. There's a level with Adnos and the level with Elohim. And we also connect, it's a full unification. Yud Ke Vav Ke, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem. Add all this up, equals ner. 3 times. This is what it is. This is the ner. When a woman deserves, so this is why Yehuda says lehadlik ner. It has to be, and at the same time, he lit up the ner of Yosef Atzadik, because when you take back Atah at 406, so in other words, Yaakov tells him, I'm grateful to you, and your and the brothers are grateful to you because you saved the Nitzites of the Mashiach ben David that was in air, your oldest son, and because you saved Oinon, we're getting the Sanhedrin. But Atah 406 equals ner Yosef. But we're also grateful to you because you lead the ner of the Mashiach. And this is the gratefulness we have on the, and if you take Ato Yoiducha Achecha equals 491, Zois Chanukah, all the lights, Yud Ke Vav Ke, Shakai, Adnus, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, Elohim. We see that not only the machshav of Yehuda was correct, and it's far away from the pashtus of the pasuk. Not only do we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mashgiach on every little prat in the world, so he conducts our lives like the word of the Baal Shem last week. But what we have to do is focus on the most important thing in this world is to forgive, to let go. Begrudged us? Yes. You deserve, you're a nasty guy? Yes. But it's not my role to try to defend. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want, it would have never happened. And this, what I believe. So it's your cheshbon between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's how we have a Melech HaMashiach that's going to come very soon, and a Mashiach ben Yosef that's going to come very soon, and a Moshe Rabbeinu that's going to come very soon. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.